everybody, it's Paul here at Gillette Castle State Park. Today I'm standing in William Gillette's study, and I'm standing right beside this photo which shows what William Gillette's office looked like in his family house in Hartford. Now the reason that I'm standing here is I'm going to tell you today about William Gillette's connection to one of our nation's greatest literary figures, and that would be Samuel Clemens, also known as Mark Twain. Now, just to give you a little bit of background here, William Gillette's father, Francis, was into many pursuits, one of which real estate. So in 1853, Francis Gillette and his brother-in-law, John Hooker, bought up about 140 acres of land in the Asylum Hill area of Hartford. It became known eventually as the Nook Farm neighborhood, as that's where there was a little nook right where the Park River curved. And it became eventually the intellectual and cultural powerhouse of the entire nation. Now, the Gillette family house was finished in 1857. You fast forward to about 1869, that was Mark Twain's first real visit to Hartford, where he was thoroughly impressed because in 1871 he bought up some land from Francis Gillette, and then he was renting a home from John Hooker for about 3 years, and then he moved into his house when it was completed in 1874. Now, at that time, William Gillette would have been in his late teens, early 20s, so he would have been finishing up his program at Hartford Public High School. That area was a very close-knit community, it was a very tight neighborhood, and you can guarantee that Mark Twain's house was certainly a center for activity. He and William Gillette became really good friends. Now, one of William Gillette's earliest professional roles was actually in a play called The Gilded Age. It was based on the book that Mark Twain wrote with their other Nook Farm neighbor, Charles Dudley Warner. Mark Twain actually recommended Gillette for the part. It was just a very small role. William Gillette was cast as the foreman of the jury. He had 2 lines, but it was a professional role. Much later in his life, Mark Twain was asked about that recommendation, and he admitted that he had actually just recommended William Gillette for that part just as a joke, but he later said that he didn't know which he liked better, Gillette becoming a success or seeing one of his jokes go wrong, because obviously William Gillette became extremely successful. One of Gillette's earlier successes was a play called The Professor, which he put on in 1881, and Mark Twain actually helped finance that. He put about $3,000 forward to help Gillette finance the production. And later on, after the production had closed, he stepped in to help Gillette, who was getting sort of cheated by his managers at the time. So he was extremely helpful to William Gillette's early career, and they stayed good friends. The Clemens family and the Gillette family were pretty close. So William Gillette's wife, Helen, was a very good friend of Libby Clemens, Mark Twain's wife. William Gillette's sister, Lily, spent a good amount of time living up in their Hartford neighborhood. So her kids were pretty close with the Clemens girls. And Mark Twain and William Gillette stayed good friends until Mark Twain's death. One question we get a lot at the castle is, did Mark Twain ever visit here? Just to put this one to rest, he did not. Unfortunately, Mark Twain died in 1910, which is about 4 years before construction of the castle was started. So unfortunately, he never had a chance to see the castle. Mark Twain was known to have dabbled in a little bit of audio recording. He liked to play around, experiment a little bit. But unfortunately, there are no known audio recordings of Mark Twain's voice. Now, that being said, in 1934, William Gillette was doing a speech at Harvard where he explained that he used to impersonate Mark Twain, and so he gave his impression of Mark Twain, which is considered one of the closest likenesses to his voice. So go ahead and take a listen.
When I was young, I traveled around the small towns of New England giving imitations of actors and celebrated people, and among them was an imitation of Mark Twain. I lived next to him all my early life. The celebrated story of Mark Twain's, the one that first, I believe, made him famous, was called The Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. Well, there was a man around here in the spring of '49 named Jim Smiley, and he was most worst thing you ever saw about betting on anything. That is, if you could get somebody to bet on the other side, and if he couldn't, he'd change sides. Anything what suited the other man would suit him, just so he got a bet. He was satisfied. And he was lucky, too, uncommon lucky. There couldn't be no solitary thing mentioned but that fella Doc was a bet on. If it was a dog fight, he'd bet on it. If it was a cat fight, he'd bet on it. Why, if he seen two birds a-setting on the fence, he'd bet you which one would fly first. If he even saw a straddle bug start to go anywhere, he'd bet on where he was going, and he'd follow that straddle bug from Mexico before he found out where he was going and how long he was on the voyage. Old Parson Walker's wife laid very ill once, and for a long time it looked as if they weren't going to save her. But one day the parson come in kind of lively like, and one of the boys said, "Well, how's the wife, parson?" And he said, "Well, she's considerable better, thanks the Lord for his infinite mercy. And with the help of Providence, she'll get well yet." "Well, I bet you 2 to 1 she don't anyhow," says Smiley before he thought a word about it.
Now that's basically what I have to share with you today. Make sure you keep liking our videos, make sure you post any comments or questions you may have, and keep sharing these with all your friends and family so that they can enjoy them as well. So, take care and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.